Start recording.
Okay.
That has created another one. My microphone is recording. And this is now full screen. So at this point, it does indeed seem like I am ready.
Alrighty. Alright, let's do this.
Hold on. Actually, no, let's keep it going. Let's keep it moving. See, I was trying to be like, let's get a smooth conversation going, and then we can kind of fade into it, but, you know, fuck it. We're here.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 35 of Patch Notes, the Home Games podcast. I'm Yazeed, and this is Joseph.
Hello, I am Joseph, and today is June 23rd, 2020.
It sure is, buddy.
Welcome.
How's it going, man?
It's good. I'm currently, we were just talking before the podcast, but I'm currently freaking out because Sinovia and I bought a house. Woo. So that's something that we've been trying to do for like, I don't know, months, long time. And it's been stressing me out silently behind the scenes, but it's done. We closed literal hours ago and we got the keys 2.5 hours ago. Another thing is we're back remote doing this whole thing because Arizona's in the middle of its worst coronavirus spike ever. So,
and also the state's on fire, yo.
Literally, the state is on fire. The mountain, there's a large mountain fire, which is like a normal thing here every year.
Yeah, the difference is this year I'm like 7 minutes away from the evacuation line, so that's exciting.
Yeah, you're very dangerously close to that fire. So
yeah,
and it's funny because, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say in the mornings I can smell the smoke. I'm not even kidding. I can smell like burned wood.
The weather forecast every day just says smoke 102 or whatever. It's like that's
smoke, but also it's about an oven outside, so be careful out there. It's like
it's really not
bad.
good. And it's funny because last week I was like, hey, maybe because the state is on fire, we shouldn't record in person next week. We should do a remote again. And you responded like, oh yeah, I am kind of close to the mountain. And I was like, oh yeah, we are literally on fire too, but we're like metaphorically on fire, the world.
Well, I meant more like if the fire came down the mountain a little bit more and the evacuation line got moved, it'd really be unfortunate if you were here and I was just like, got a knock on the door and they're like, you should leave now. Like, I'd be like, I don't know where I'm going, so.
Yeah. Crazy. But yeah, there's a fire in the mountain, so decided I didn't want to risk it.
And Corona, you know, just... Yeah. Not the beer kind.
Little things going on in the world, you know? Minor things. Anyway.
I mean, in the literal sense, Corona is a little thing. It's a virus that's microscopic.
It is literally very small.
It's right.
Yeah.
But that's what's happening, man? What's new?
Yeah. House stuff, I guess, is it. I mean, this is the Home Games podcast. And now you and I are both homeowners, so it's kind of, we are really home gang, like really representing, you know?
Yeah, the home gang. I don't think we ever mentioned on this podcast that I own my house, so that's...
Oh yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to like leak that info to the internet.
Leaking the info that I own a home. No, yeah, I own a house.
Yeah.
So occasionally I point out stuff in this room and I'm like, what is that? Like, I still am not sure what that is.
That's a
door. I don't know which door that is.
That's your bathroom.
You can't see the... Oh, maybe you're right. Anyway, continue.
Do you still have that box of headphones in your corner, or did you get rid of that? I haven't seen it. Oh, nope, still there.
It's not a box of headphones. It's a box of stuff that I brought home from the office.
With a pair of headphones in it.
And then there's just an old pair of headphones in there.
Got it. That's normal.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess that's all what's up with me. Is home. We bought a house.
Whoa, you got one more thing on here, man. You got Valorant.
And I played a little bit of Valorant, and I didn't like it.
No? Did you play with randos?
I did play with randos, and I realized that game is one of those where, like, randos put the headset on. Where you talk to people. Yeah. And I just don't. I, like, refuse to talk to people that I don't know. And I don't care how good or fun or engaging or anything it is if I talk to people that I don't know. I just refuse to talk to people I don't know. So I played around... And I was like, this is kind of like Counter-Strike, but it sucks. And I stopped playing it.
I like how you tell me that, but then you also text me your conversation with that other guy in Spanish.
That was Gears. I was playing Gears. And he said putos when we joined the game. Like, we killed him and he called us bitches. And then I responded with some words. I don't know if you want me to say them.
You can say them. It's funny.
It's a family-friendly pod. So I'm learning Spanish. I'm trying to like increase my vocabulary, and my family is Mexican, so I've picked up a lot of little things and whatever over years, but I do not speak Spanish. So I've been trying to flex my Spanish game. Anyway, this dude called us putos, and then I decided, this is a line that I've been using for years because I know how to say it, but I know it's not right. But it was, tu abuela bebe la leche de mi culo, which is your grandmother drinks my ass milk. But I don't think there's like I don't think that's like actual translation. It's like my translation. But that's what I'm trying to get across. And it gets them every time. Anyway, the guy just responded, like, he called us that, and then I said that, and it was, quiet chat for like a minute. And then he just said, eres muy bueno, which is you are very good. And it's just like, okay, that's a weird comeback to come up. But anyway, yeah, that was Gears of War. Played a little Gears of War. Played a little Valorant. I was actually surprised. Everybody in Valorant was very nice. Like,
yeah,
they were intense and into the game, but they were nice. It wasn't like, people shouting obscenities at me, which was surprising.
Yeah, I mean, they're like, the community is pretty nice. I play it mostly with like other people, but I kind of agree. It's like a less good version of Counter-Strike. And I'm not even a fan of shooters, so really the only reason I play it is to play with friends.
Yeah, I mean, I would play it with you. I still have it installed. I think I just was trying to get into it to see if it's my kind of game. Like, my kind of game is, like a modern warfare. And it makes me a basic person, but I embrace it. I like to turn off the volume and just point and shoot at guys for like 3 hours while listening to music or podcasts. And that's like my vibe these days. So I was trying to see if Valorant was something I can get into. And it's just not my kind of game. It's like Overwatch. Like, it's like, oh, this is cool, but I'll never play this because I don't like playing with people.
That makes sense.
With friends, I don't like to play because it's like stressful trying to keep everybody together. And if you need like 4 people, it's like, oh, well, Yazeed has a friend that like no one really likes, but he'll get in the lobby and whatever. Not really. Yazeed doesn't really have a friend that nobody likes, but you know what I mean? For example, it's just
I was going through the people I know in my head. I was like, which one?
No, it's not a real thing.
Who does Joseph dislike?
I don't dislike anybody. I'm the friendliest guy. I get along with everybody.
You're lying to me? I'm okay with this.
I get along with most people.
That part is true, yes. The everybody part is objectively wrong.
That is not true. I lied.
We didn't even get along when we first met.
Yeah, that's true. We've been meaning to tell the story about how we met, or like the story of us, but that'll be a special thing. We wanted to do that in person when we started doing them in person again, and there was a little glimmer of hope where we thought we could do these in person again, but of course, the world comes and smacks us down back to reality.
Yeah. The part about playing Valorant with other people that I don't like is that when your friends die, they just watch what you're doing and then they try to correct you. But I play like, I don't know, 5 matches a week, and they play like 5 matches a day. So like their critiques on my play is like they keep telling me like aim up, like aim for the head, and I'm like, listen, I don't have that much practice. I'm gonna miss if I shoot him in the head. Yeah. At least if I go for the body, like I can hit him.
Yeah.
But I can't tell them that because when I tell them that, they're like, yeah, but you'd kill people if you shoot him in the head. And I'm like, so I just play the shotgun only.
Smart.
I only get the shotgun because if I hit him in the body, it doesn't matter if I'm close enough.
Yeah. You said you did better in that game than you thought you would, right? For FPS
I did, yeah. I still do. Like, I'm not bad at it compared to everyone else, but they keep critiquing me, and I have weak mentals. When they critique me, I just do progressively worse.
Yeah, I think that's another thing. I think I had that when we played League of Legends. I think I played that with you and some other people, and like I love the intention. Like I love the idea of, hey, my friends are just casually trying to show you how to get into this thing so you could become part of our group. Love the intention, but the reality is people often do that, which is like, hey, you're doing it wrong. Do it like this. Yeah. And the second it starts to become like you're my coach, the whole dynamic of like we're friends playing this game just goes out the window, and I can't like operate,
Yeah, I think I'm gonna tell them that. But I mean, I'm still in that D&D group that I've been trying to quit for, I don't know, like 4 months.
I think it should be socially acceptable to tell people that you don't like them anymore.
It is. I'm just terrible at that. Because you can't just look somebody in the eye and say, I don't like you anymore. You got to say, like, listen, we've drifted apart. It's time for us to see other people.
Yeah. I mean,
to join other D&D groups.
But it's such a weird thing. Like, everybody has casual friends that they don't like, you know?
Yeah.
Just be like, look, guy, we're both pretending here. Like, let's just not anymore, you know?
The problem is that I think that it's only one-sided that I don't like. I can't want to leave the DN group. I get the impression that they really enjoy hanging out with me. And I'm like, I would like to leave, but I don't know how.
Popular guy Yazeed secretly not
I think it's one of those things where it's just like, if you don't know me very well, I come across like I do a bunch of stuff. And so I'm just like, oh, that guy does like all kinds of stuff. I bet it's cool. And then you realize that I do like the same stuff 90% of the time. It's just like 10% of the time I do neat things.
Well, you have interests that come across as very like intimidating. If you're like, oh, I'm into Warhammer, hiking, and programming. There's other stuff in there too, but like no one can be casually into any of those, you know.
That's true.
So you just hit them with like a wall of information.
Right. I climb mountains, I read books, and I write code. Where you at?
Yeah. It's a very strong personality, let's say. And some people just can't handle it, you know?
It seems that we're on the outside, but on the inside, I'm like, how do I say things to people? Speaking of saying things to people,
yes,
I got this game, all right?
Okay.
And it's called Ancestors, the Humankind Odyssey.
Okay.
That game is the wildest game I've ever played.
What is it?
It is a game about like human ancestors. It's like basically you play as like some like human ape ancestor in like the forests of Africa 10 million years ago.
Okay.
And the idea is that you have to grow your little like tribe of like other ape people. And you do it by like teaching a baby version of your creature like skills. So like for example, like if you see a rock and you pick it up and you inspect it while the baby's watching you, that baby learns to like be curious. And so then like that baby is like more curious, and so it learns stuff a little bit faster. But if you have a baby, you move slower and you require like more rest breaks, and like the game is just more difficult. So like you have to like strike a balance between like I would like to go out into the wilderness and do stuff, and also like I need to teach the next generation of like what to do. And so like, that's pretty cool on its own. But they don't like they tell you like how to do nothing. Basically, they tell you how to like use your eyes, your nose, and your ears, how to move, and that's it. And then like the rest of the game is like you have to discover the rest of the game. So like you kind of have to discover that you have to sleep. You kind of have to discover like how to communicate. You have to discover like what to eat and what not to eat.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you tried to jump out of a tree and catch a branch and missed because you're an idiot with poor timing and broke one of your legs. Well, you better find a way of fixing that or you're going to have a limp. They also don't tell you stuff like there's monsters out there that will eat you. It's like if you hang out near the river too long, maybe a crocodile will show up. If you're chilling in the trees and you're too high up and not with any cover, maybe a big bird will swoop in and eat you. Maybe you're just chilling on the forest ground because your leg is broken and climbing trees is too slow. By the way, there's big cats here and they'll eat you also. Or you were just chilling picking fruit. There was a snake in the fruit. You gotta pay attention to like everything. That game is so difficult but so much fun.
I love the idea of that. Like a no tutorial, figure it out. Like,
yeah,
we don't care type tutorial. That's my favorite.
It's so difficult as a game. I lost 3 apes to the bird before I figure out how to avoid the bird. But then I've broken like every other ape's legs because I keep trying to climb trees and jump into the next tree and I keep missing because I'm stupid. So like I just have a bunch of animals with broken legs trying to like hobble about and like perform the regular action.
Sounds tragic.
It really is because I'm so bad at the timing on the jumps. It's a real process. But anyway, really fun game.
So the
like,
is the gameplay like click and point strategy, or is it like moving?
It's like third person. It's like over the shoulder view.
Okay. So like, what is the first 5 minutes of that game? Like, you start as baby and you just move and.
So, well, the first 5 minutes of the game is you start off as a baby whose parent got eaten by the big bird, and you need to find a hiding spot.
Okay. And are baby what? Baby human?
Your baby little, like, it's not like a human. You like whatever the ancestor would be before, like an Australopithecus, if you remember that.
Oh, of course.
School, yeah.
No, I
basically it's like you're like one step above a chimpanzee.
Okay.
Like one step closer to being human than a chimpanzee. Got it. I would say.
Okay. Yeah. What's it called?
Yeah. Ancestors: The Humankind Odyssey.
That sounds pretty cool.
It's super fun. It's like, I don't know how I've never heard of this game before, but it's exactly what I wanted.
Is it old?
No, it's pretty new. It came out on PS4, 5, whatever the current run is, not the new
4.
one. Yeah, 4, and it's on the Epic Game Store. So.
Okay. I've noticed. Yeah, a while back I posted on Reddit because there was, this is unrelated. The Epic Game Store has a very big Reddit circle jerk against it. Do you know why that is? Yeah. Why?
So Fortnite bad, Epic bad kind of deal, and then also it was a competitor to Steam, and for some reason people felt like it was better to have for Steam to have a monopoly than to have Epic as the competitor, which was like a big question mark for me. I was like, why would you want that? But for them, it's like a weird like cult or tribe of like people who only want Steam.
That is so crazy to me because I agree. I think that's it. There's also security breaches I've read are like a thing that Epic Game Store, whatever. That's totally valid to not trust a company.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's fine, but like
they make the Unreal Engine, dude. They have the resources to, like they got it. They could build a real system. But at the same time, I like forgive them for that. But yeah, I guess I've just seen all that anti-circle or anti-Epic, circle jerk, anti-Uplay, anti-Origin. And like if people really have been using Steam for longer than a few years, Steam's UI still is pretty terrible, but didn't change for years until Origin and Uplay came through and at least tried to do something different. And now Steam, it's still like a very sterile feeling UI, but they're trying at least. Like, I don't know. I love Epic Game Store just because it's not Steam,
Yeah, I mean, the one complaint I have about it is straight up that I'm lazy and I don't want to memorize 2 logins, one for the Epic Games and one for Steam. But it's just like, that's my only real complaint. The UI is fine. The games on there, like, fine. Like, okay, there's exclusives to Steam, there's exclusive to, like, the Epic Games Store. It's like, whatever. I'll just get whatever on whatever. Like, I already have to do that for BattleNet. I already have to do that for Origin. I already have to do that for Uplay. Like, what's one more? It's not really...
And I mean,
a big deal.
I've noticed, like, when I was younger, people were like, and myself included, was like, why do exclusives exist? Like, just put the game out. But you realize when you get older, like, oh, what's the point of having 2 consoles if they're the same?
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So anyway, yeah, just wanted the Epic Game Store seems fine, and I don't know why people don't like it.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, the new, Cyberpunk got pushed back, and that makes me big sad. But... Yeah. It was supposed to be like $25 cheaper on the Epic Game Store than on Steam. Like, Steam was going to be $60 and the Epic Game Store was going to be like $35.
That's crazy.
And I was like, why wouldn't I buy it on the Epic Game Store?
Yeah. Did you ever use Green Man Gaming or anything like that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I use it all the time, but I'm pretty sure those weren't legit keys. Like, they were taken from something shady or something.
So the rumor I heard was that they were buying keys from Eastern Europe.
Yes.
And that because it's cheaper, and they were just using it in America because the keys aren't like region locked.
So it's technically legit, but it just feels shady.
I mean, you're kind of shortchanging the developer, who's the one losing money on this whole endeavor, which is kind of bad, but
Yeah, I'm not saying I'm for it. I guess I just because I used to, when I was younger, use Green Man Gaming because you can get a new game for $40, like brand new. Anyway, I don't know. Buying games on PC is weird. It's like you can't buy discs; you just have to buy it from someone on the internet, and it's probably Gabe Newell. But
it really is like the Wild West right now or not like the Wild West. This is like the competitive era. Like the Wild West when it was like only Steam, and you literally had to like You had to like know what you were getting into before you started looking on Steam because you couldn't find anything. Like, it was so bad their search didn't work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, so that game's really cool. I really recommend it. Single player, and that's really what I wanted. It's just like a single player like survival game.
Cool.
It's like super hard, like so hard.
Yeah.
But not hard in like the controls are hard. It's hard in that like the difficulty is high. Anyway, and then just obedience school with my dog continues.
Nice. Is she getting better?
She is getting a lot better. She's like really grasping it and everything's like
firmly
I'm really happy
grasping
with it. She's firmly grasping a lot of these concepts. I'm really happy. She learned stay in like 2 minutes and she learned leave it in like 1 attempt. So I was like, yes, this is the like big things. Because leave it is what I'll be using to make sure she doesn't chase every rabbit we see, which is big.
Nice. I thought, what do you say when she has something in her mouth and she won't put it down?
What do I say?
Yeah, like is that because I would think that's leave it.
Oh no, leave it is when something is like on the floor and you don't want her to eat it.
Yeah.
It's like that's leave it.
What's your fetch strategy then when you throw it and she doesn't get it out of her mouth?
Oh, the way we play fetch is I throw it, she grabs it, runs back to me, and then kind of like squats down. And then when I walk towards her, she sprints away from me as fast as she can. And I have to chase her a little bit. And then she just keeps doing that. And then finally, like she's tired and she'll give me the ball and then I'll throw it again. And this whole process starts.
Yeah.
It's like a way more involved thing. And I'm kind of okay with it.
Nice. Well, cool.
Yeah.
How much longer is left in your obedience stuff?
4 more weeks.
Is there like a deliverable at the end? Are they like, your dog will be able to do this in 4 weeks? Or is it just kind of like a general improvement?
So, I mean, this is the beginner course. So, like, basically, this is just like the fundamentals. So, like, it's the positionals. It's like the real, like, ultra basics of like, if your dog can't do this, like, your life is more difficult because you have to keep a close eye on your dog all the time. So, like, for example, like, I learned leave it, which basically means now when I'm cooking, if I drop something on the floor and she can't eat, like if I drop a tomato on the floor and I know that she's going to go for it, I can say leave it and she won't go for it, which is really big.
Nice, yeah.
And then the other one we learned is stay, which is basically just like stop moving and just chill where you're at. Yeah. And that's kind of big for me too. Because if ever she gets off leash, my hope is that she'll memorize stay really well and then I can just shout at her and she'll stay.
So that works when she's like, I'm gonna kill that rabbit, like the
no,
dog.
I've not tried that yet.
Okay.
We're still in the process of getting down the practice time. Because before we'd play at 3:00 for about 30 minutes. Now we have to play for 30 minutes and then practice for 30 minutes. So it's like I have to add on that extra 30 minutes, and she kind of loses focus halfway through. So like I'm just kind of working on it.
Yeah.
But I mean, as long as she keeps improving, I would probably put her in like the intermediate classes and then their advanced classes, and they have agility courses, snake avoidance courses, and then I gotta figure out how to do search and rescue training.
Very cool. Well, yeah. I haven't mentioned this, I don't even think to you outside of the podcast, but I never mentioned Synovia currently has a dog at her parents' house.
Mm-hmm.
And she's not the favorite dog, so basically they're gonna give her to us when we actually move in. So we're getting their dog in like a week or whatever.
Wait, which dog is it? The really little one?
Her name's Pepper. No, that's Daisy. You're thinking of Pepper is the one that lives outside. She's like always slobbering.
Okay, not the really big mean dog.
No,
not mean, but like protective dog.
That dog passed away last year or 2 years ago or something. But that was an Akita. Me and Synovia have been together how long? 9 years, and I never went into the backyard of that house until after Alistair passed away because he never let me outside. Anyway, the dog, we're gonna get a dog, so there's gonna be more significant dog talk on this podcast.
And then we're gonna have dog play dates.
I was just gonna say that. That'll be something.
Yeah, it'll be good. Speaking of dog, we saw a deer yesterday.
Like just out in the street, or like?
Yeah, it was laying down in some of the brush near our house, or near my house, and when we were walking, Sapphire stopped and just like hard focused, and I was like, shoot, a rabbit. And it's like I was starting to like crouch down to get lower than her so she couldn't back out from like basically like the only way for her to get out of the leash is to back towards me. So if you kind of like push your body behind her, she can't back up anymore. And instead, a whole deer popped out of the bush and just sprinted away. And I was like, what? If you've never seen a deer just explode out of a bush before, it's kind of startling.
Yeah.
What's even more startling is when your dog immediately, no hesitation, just starts barking, which she doesn't normally do, and just pulls real hard to try to go after this deer.
Yeah.
And you're like in shock, but also like, I have to regain control of the situation.
The area by your house, like the general vicinity, does not seem very deery to me, so that seems weird.
So I think the misconception is that deer need like woodlands and grasslands, but we actually have a pretty good population of deer in Arizona. They're called Coos deer. C-O-U-S. C-O-U-S, yeah. Coos deer. Yeah, they live, they're like odd compared to most other deer, but yeah, they do okay here.
My only deer encounter in my life, it was in Washington, and we were at, I think, a state fair or something, but there was a female deer in the front yard of someone's house, and we parked basically on the street in front of their house. So when we got back to the car at the end of the whole thing, it was just a deer just eating food and like staring at me. And I recognized from playing Deer Hunter 20 years ago that a female deer is a doe. So I took the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, took out my phone, zoomed into its face, and then I said, "What up, doe?"
Nice.
That's probably the peak of all of the jokes I've ever made in my life, and it's all been downhill since then.
That's not true. Weren't you like number 5 of all on top of all time for funny or something like that on Reddit?
Oh, yeah. I made some like very cringy posts in college on Reddit, and I got to the top of funny. Anyway.
Nice. Which sounds way less impressive than it was at the time.
Also,
there was a time when funny was funny.
It wasn't even funny then. Funny has never been funny. Funny is only funny for people who are new to Reddit.
That's
because they're
true,
14.
Yeah.
Anyway, Reddit's trash. I had one more thing about what's up that I forgot to put in, or maybe I put it in our Google Doc, but not on my notes. But I went through and I finally uploaded all of our old audio-only episodes to YouTube. So I don't know if you saw that, but
I did. Very nice. Thank you.
It took me like not as long as I was planning on, but too long. It took me like 4.5 hours because I had to go and process every single video, queue up all the process, and it's just it's crazy to me because I generally know how computers work, and it's like, okay, I have an audio file here and I have just a static still image of the Home Games logo. I just want this logo on screen while this thing plays. But to create this like video, it takes like an hour and a half, and it's like a gigabyte in the end. It's like, I have no clue how computers work, I don't know why this is a different. Anyway, whole thing, 20 episodes, all audio, are now on YouTube. So now YouTube has our full collection, all the hits from.
Nice, very nice.
But yeah.
Speaking of home games, are you ready to move on to home games?
Home game stuff. Yeah, you go first on home game stuff, and then I'll go.
Yeah, basically, I just needed some time off of doing stuff, and so I took this past week off from doing stuff for home games. And honestly, the past week off from doing stuff in general, like, it's outside of this room, it's not looking good. I have a lot of work to do.
Being a person, look at her go. For all the audio people, Sapphire just walked into Yazeed's room. And Yazeed becomes dog mom the second that she walks in the room.
I'll take offense to that.
That's all right. No, anyway, so what was I saying? Home game stuff. Oh, I have a thing. Yeah. Being alive is very hard at the moment, so totally understandable. All that kind of stuff. My home games update is minor, but it's not, I guess, in the sense of like it requires a lot of work for me, but the actual kind of information to talk about is not super substantial. So essentially, we talked last week about how Synovia wants to have for the visual look of home games, we want to have the bezel of a TV, and we want to always make it look like the game that someone made is within a TV. So that's all fine, and kind of on a base level that sounds doable, and it is doable. But so one of the things that I'm working on in all of my changes is that I have this home button that always appears in one corner of the screen. So if it's always in the top left, and it's kind of hard coded to be, 5% of the screen down and then 5% of the screen out, or whatever the number is, and it's just always in the corner. Well, if I'm saying that your game takes up some portion of screen width or some screen size or whatever, and my home button is always here, I'm effectively limiting your screen size. You can't use this corner of your screen, and effectively no game can put information in the top left of the screen, which doesn't seem right to me. Always kind of reserving actual screen space for a button, you know what I mean? We can ask Zenobia about this as well, but I think I kind of made the decision that the home button and the settings button that go beneath it, need to be there, but they should not be part of the actual game screen. So what that means is the home game's kind of root wrapper needs to have some special logic to kind of take the game's defined aspect ratio and say, okay, you said 16:9. I'm going to add this fixed width column essentially to the left of your screen and put my home button there and my settings button there. So this is consistent every time. Your game can be over here doing whatever on this side of the screen, but I'm kind of making like a flagpole, right? Like the pole is my thing. It's always there, and you make the flag that goes out. So
somebody clip that hand gesture, by the way.
Sure. Make gifts of me. It's all good. But so that's kind of just generally visually what that looks like. But what that means is every game that exists today has these numbers for width, height, position, blah blah blah, that are all percentage relative to the screen, right? Like if I say I'm at 0, 0, I'm at the top left versus 100, 100 at the bottom right. So if I then say, hey, my game thing is actually adding some sort of fixed width column to the left, well, the way that the rendering works is that really is the 0 to like 10% width here, right? Like the 0 to 100, I am taking some chunk of that, but I'm telling you, the game developer, that you have 0 to 100. Basically, the point is that the 0, 0 of a game is not true 0, 0. It's 0, 0 of the playable screen space, or whatever we want to call it. So I need to do some scaling in the squisher to say, every time you see a coordinate, a position, a number of any kind, which this is hacky and it's really messy in code, and I don't like the way I'm implementing it right now, which is why I'm saying it's like messy and complicated from a seemingly small thing. But I need to basically say, every time you see a game that's not the root, like the home game's root, take every number that it's giving you and scale it according to the other things that we know we're rendering in the screen. You know what I mean? So if I say that your screen is 16:9 and you say 0, 0, I have to do the calculation to say, well, I know there's a border on this left here, and then do that calculation to make 0, 0 the proper like 11, 0 or whatever it should be. And I don't have a good way to implement that at the moment, because the rendering kind of at its core is assumed to be absolute. Like your 0, 0 is a percentage, and that will go to the client and it'll scale it out for its screen. And this idea of knowing what the thing that you're or the subtree is and scaling the numbers, all numbers, based on something just doesn't seem like the right way to do it. So I'm trying to abstract that out in some sort of way that makes sense. But basically that's currently where I'm at. Realizing that in order to add this kind of visual thing that's always rendered in home games, if it's rendered in home games, it needs to be handled separately from games that are rendered in home games, if that makes sense. So yeah, it's just kind of a messy thing, and it kind of blocked all of my, I was thinking for a time, oh, well, that's not something I can implement. Like, I'm just trying to get this branch out. I'm just trying to get this thing reviewed so we can have new code in master, because it's been so long. But if I'm going through and updating all the games and I have to say, well, I'm not doing the scaling right now, then I'm basically putting all of these like, oh, well, make the width 15 instead of 0 to account for the visual change of not doing what I think I need to do. But then that's all work I'm going to have to do again later when I actually figure out the right solution, because if I go and rewrite all these games with new positions, new sizes, to account for the fact that I'm not doing the right thing, eventually I'm going to have to come back and do the right thing. So it's just like, time consuming, and it's very hard to, I guess, stop. Because it's just like, there's just fixes. So I think the thing I'm going to do, because it really isn't, it's not a good idea to keep adding more and more and more to this. So I think I'm just going to leave every game as is. I mean, obviously I'll update them to make them run. So like the coordinates and all that kind of stuff. But in the, like, when it's 0-0 and there's information in the top left and it's being eaten essentially by the home games button, I just have to leave that. And then I'll come back eventually and do it so it scales it in so you have like a proper whatever and the home games button's off on the side. But I don't think I can add that to the current change. It's just too much to, it'll add too much time to what I'm doing. So basically what I'm doing is I'm just going to make it look bad.
I think that's fine, because I mean it has been like 8 weeks or something waiting on this.
It's been a long time.
Nice changes, yeah.
And it's frustrating because it's like, it's cool stuff. Like, I want to show you animations. I want to show you the shadows. I want to show you like all this cool stuff. And I want to show people that too, because it feels like, we record this podcast and I'm just like, I'm still working on this fucking thing. But like, we've been making like a ton of progress. It's just, it's not visible to people. And that's been a major point of frustration for me lately. So I'm just I just want to get my changes out, and I can fix stuff after the fact. But that was just something I didn't really foresee. But it's something that is important. Like, rendering things outside of the game is something that we should probably have a better solution for.
Yeah, that makes sense. Am I wrong about this? But you also tweeted about like voice recording or something in home games, or am I wrong about that?
Oh, that wasn't a home games thing. That was just me messing around, because have you seen the Twitter tweet with voice feature?
Oh no.
Yeah, that's all that was. It's they're rolling out the feature. I think it's like a test, and my real Twitter account doesn't have access to the feature, but it's just a voice recording. It's just
okay.
You just record. So on the home games account, for whatever reason, that account had the feature enabled, so I used that just to try out the feature, because I thought it was cool. But no, that's not actually home games related. I think I did some bullshit voice stupid joke. Anyway, something. But that was
well, I just saw it and I was like, oh shoot, Joseph figured out how to do record audio on the fly and record like assets on the fly. I was like, oh, sick.
That would have been impressive. We can do assets on the fly, like, but we can't do recordings. No, not like that at least. But that's because of SSL. But if I actually figure that out, that'd be a great accomplishment. But no,
I mean, it sounds like we're semi-blocked by this SSL thing.
Yeah,
but I thought the solution for it was like kind of brutal.
The solution for it was something that I think requires time and maybe money, like a lot of time and maybe money. So,
are you sure it's not time and a lot of money?
It might be a lot of money. I don't know how it works. I just know because the original thing, the only reason I know it's possible is because Plex does it. I don't know if you remember, but when we originally talked about this, it's because there's
that's what I was curious about, because you even mentioned it 2 weeks ago, 1 week ago, something like this.
Yeah, it's coming up. I think it's one of those things where like I know SSL is going to be a thing that we're going to have to fix eventually. And it's nice being able to say like one day, but one day it's going to hurt. Like we're going to have to figure that out. I'm partially just hoping that there's more information outside of a Plex blog that vaguely describes a business deal and a technical solution. I want a digital ocean. Run these commands and you get everything working perfectly.
You want a medium blog? You want a large blog?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't trust medium blogs. But it's funny, ever since I said that medium sucks, ever since then, I've had a handful of like real saving moments from medium blogs. So it's kind of funny.
Medium is like the opposite of Stack Overflow, where like 50% of this, like 75% of this time, Stack Overflow will have what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Medium 25% will have what you're looking for, but it's always like the most obscure thing.
Yeah. Like
it's never like I was looking for like this and Stack Overflow. It's like I was looking for like really specific conditions that needed to be met.
Yeah.
And there's like some rando on it was like, I should write a blog about how I solved this problem. It's like, oh, that's exactly what I need.
how to set up a load balancer without a keyboard on Medium. You're just like, this is perfect for me. Yeah, Medium is like, there's a lot of the, hey, I just learned about this thing and I'm trying to gain internet clout, so I'm trying to write up this thing I don't really know about. But then you get the people who are like, no, I know what I'm doing here, which is super helpful. Which is, I guess, the internet in general. Like, you know, people are stupid.
It's true. You gotta see how many claps their article has, and that's how you know.
So dumb. So dumb.
Someone had 40 claps on their article, and that's how you knew it was a bad article.
I saw a blog one time on Medium, and I read through it, and I was like, wow, they really should have some sort of content moderation on this site, because this is awful. Like, this post is, like, really not great. And then I looked, and it had, like, 39 claps, and I was like, oh, this whole thing is broken. If people are, like, claiming this is good, you know what I mean? It's like, what is a clap? People are just like, hey, you did something, I approve. But then it tells people that that's, like, valuable information, which it's not. Anyway, it's the whole thing.
Yeah. Who's clapping was my question.
Who's clapping?
Who's clapping?
Yeah. I don't have much else for
Nice.
home game stuff. It was really just it. I need to come up with a good way. And I think you asked about this a couple weeks ago. But, like, if I have a component as a child of another component or node, if I have a node as a child of another node, its position should be relative to its parent.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I did talk about this.
I still don't know if I agree with that, because, you know, if you think about, because it's really kind of a mirror of CSS, and oftentimes in CSS it's like, oh, margin left negative 50%. I just know it works. But when you're doing like weird hacks like that, because you want to say this thing actually goes outside of its parent div, you have to basically, you do what feels like a hack. And so I think just building everything like absolute position, percentage, blah, blah, blah. I think that's still the way I want to do it. Go ahead.
I think your argument was convincing last time. I think I'm brought over to the absolute one.
Yeah, but this time my argument sucks. But last time, go play that one back.
I mean, it's the same argument.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah.
last time we got into it a little bit more because I was arguing more vehemently for the relative positioning.
I remember this now. Yeah, we had that whole conversation. But essentially, the takeaway is that I need to come up with a good way to essentially do this parent-child rendering thing while still making the child think it has the full screen, because it does. So just some tricky things to handle there, and obviously been a little busy with things lately, so I haven't given it the time I need to. But that was kind of the hurdle of the week. And so this is like the fourth week in a row now where I'll be like, this is the one where I finally get the PR out. So when I pay off the mortgage in 30 years, we'll still be here. This is the week. Finally.
God dang.
No. But that's
I
all
only
for
have
me.
29 more years to go.
Nice. God, you're going to be such an old man. We're both going to be old men one day. Very exciting to think about.
Yeah, assuming we make it.
Yeah, you never know. Song of the week.
Could take me out.
It certainly could. Song of the week, though. What's your song of the week, Yazeed?
Okay, so this kind of is hard to explain. Okay, so on Adventure Time, one of the characters' moms sings a song to her, and it's called "Everything Stays." And I recently found on Spotify, Adventure Time uploaded or Cartoon Network uploaded some of these. So the song is called "Everything Stays" by Adventure Time featuring Olivia Olson. The song is more of a lullaby than anything else. It's just really reassuring to me, and it's something I really like. I don't know. It feels like being cuddled in a warm blanket, and I like it.
That does sound comforting.
It is comforting.
This is unrelated. You know me.
I do know you.
Should I watch Adventure Time? Never seen it.
Listen, here's the thing. I really liked Adventure Time a lot. I think you would like some episodes. And I think some episodes would frustrate you. And I think some episodes would just... You just tune out completely.
Frustrate me because I'm like invested in the story and it doesn't go well? Or like what?
Frustrate you because sometimes what'll happen is like they'll have like 4 episodes and there's just like a lot of story development and character development, and then there'll be a filler episode that is just total garbage.
Wow.
And you're just like, go back to the good stuff. But it may or may not go back to the good stuff for a while, so you're just stuck in filler land for a little bit. So like that's what I mean by like, I think that there are going to be like some runs and like some sets of episodes that you'd really get into, and then there's going to be like some like fillers. But one of my favorite episodes of that whole show is a filler episode. So
Okay. I was gonna ask a question and then I forgot it.
I
Yeah, go ahead.
think if I came up with like a viewing list for you, like, hey, watch these episodes in this order, that would be better for you than to try to grind through the whole show.
Okay, because I've actually heard that about Star Trek as well, that it's so hit or miss, and people out there have been like, oh, these are the ones to watch, these are the ones to ignore. And I love the idea there. You're trying to get me. It's kind of like the game thing. Like, you're trying to get me into this thing that you like because we're trying to share this interest. But I would rather watch the whole thing, because then it's like I'm getting someone else's opinion as my baseline. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, like I said, like, I think I'd curate it more specifically to you than to me, because I think the episode that I really liked you'd find incredibly boring.
Okay. Maybe I'll add it to my list of things I want to watch, because I've run out of shows that I like, so I'll add Adventure Time to it. But I've been meaning to for the longest time. It seems like a interesting show. I just don't know anything about it.
It is pretty wild. I like it a lot, and if you have a little bit of coconut oil on you, I think you'd enjoy the show even more.
Great. I like it. That's going to be like our sandwich in How I Met Your Mother.
I never watched How I Met Your Mother.
A sandwich is a joint in How I Met Your Mother. When they're like do the like the dorm flashbacks, whatever. It'll be like Marshall just eating like a foot long in his dorm. Anyway, that'll be like our thing. Coconut oil.
Oh, that's funny. My favorite, for the record, my favorite episode of Adventure Time is the one where Jake the dog wants to be a brick in the wall that's about to fall down. Basically, he wants to be a brick in a wall that's about to be blown over by the wind because he wants to experience what that's like.
Okay.
But he ends up just narrating the life of a rabbit, and it's just really captivating to me, and I really liked it. Like, it's just like the way they tell the story. Also, the funnier part is that it's Marcus from Gears of War who voices Jake the dog. So it's just like, it really cracks me up to like connect all that together.
Yeah. Shit, yeah. That's funny.
A little, yeah.
Cool. So Everything Stays from Adventure Time. I will check that out and likely check out the show as well.
You should. And then from last week, I have a ton of recommendations.
Yeah, we gave you too much homework last week.
So Big Worm,
yeah,
really good.
Hey,
really good.
Awesome.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. I really liked Big Worm.
Yeah.
Out the Front Door is the beat from Panther by Maiden Heights.
Yeah.
But then at the end, they changed the beat, and it crushed me. I was really vibing with it, and then like the last like 25 seconds, and I was like, dang it. It's so close to being another hit rap song. Savage, I only know it from TikTok, and I think it should stay there.
Damn, get him.
And then
Zenobi's gonna hate you for that.
It's not my thing.
I totally agree. Go ahead.
Hot Girl Summer is just, that's not a good song.
That's a great song. That's where you're wrong. I agree. Savage isn't very good, but Hot Girl Summer, that song is just fun.
I don't know. I didn't like it.
You're wrong, and that's all right, you know. But I'm glad you listened.
I don't know why I get to have an opinion on hip hop or rap songs. Like, I know so little about it, and I understand even less. So like, my opinions should mean very little.
Your opinions mean a lot, and you can have an opinion if you want to, Yazeed. I give you permission.
Thank you.
But you didn't watch Friday, but Big Worm is a reference to basically the bad guy in Friday, and Friday is like, just
Big Worm's
so good.
A banger. All right. Big Worm is in my playlist.
Nice.
Because I listened to it one time and I was like, yeah, this song hits me at the right time at the right spots. So
if you like that song, you should really check out more Maxo Kream. I like at the start of this podcast or the start of Song of the Week, I would never have like just suggested that rapper to you. But if you like Big Worm, you should check. There's a song called Bisonette by Maxo Kream. which I think is really great too.
Yeah,
There's another one called
that. How do you spell that?
Bissonnet. I don't know, something like that. You could find it.
So it's literally like Bison Net.
Bissonnet. Okay. I don't know. Bassinet? I don't know what the word is. And then there's another one called Roaches, which is pretty good. Synovia has a line from that one that she quotes to me all the time, which is pretty funny. But Maxo Kream has some of the best modern that kind of sounding rap music I've heard. We also saw him live a few years ago. Dude has so much energy. He's so cool. I love Maxo Kream.
Yeah, it was fun. I liked it a lot.
Good. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Megan Thee Stallion, I don't know. Dude, I don't know if I liked it.
Megan Thee Stallion is not my kind of... She doesn't make my kind of music, but she's a really, really good rapper. If that's the kind of thing. Like,
oh, really? Like, just like the technical skill?
That too. I think she's kind of not generic, but she kind of takes inspiration from a lot of people, and I don't like how her ad-libs are like half of her rap. You know what I mean? Where it's like going, and then and it's like that's the ad-lib, and she'll just like stick her tongue out for a whole bar, and it's like you could be rapping there, you know? But that's like a double standard in my head, because I'll listen to Young Thug like literally screech, and I'm just like, you know, headbanging to it. So that's my fault. But Megan Thee Stallion is a really good rapper. I just don't like listening to her, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Anyway, your song of the week last week was 8.02. I don't know if that's like notation for... How do you read that?
I don't know either.
Okay.
I don't know either.
By Danger. And I wrote down... My note is that it sounds like an earthquake on Molly at the start. Because it's like so chaotic. And it's like it's just shaking and all over the place. And then it actually calms down as it keeps going. But it was not what I was expecting. Because all the stuff... You know, not all the stuff, but a lot of the stuff you recommend is like... Takes 4 hours to start, you know? And then it's just like someone will... give like a guttural little like at the beginning, and then that's the song. And so I like, was not expecting this at all, but I was surprised, and I liked it.
Nice. Yeah. I'm glad you liked it. That song really is like a million miles an hour at the opening.
It's insane. It just like, I don't know, it just sounds like a nightmare, but in a really good way. And my song of the week, you ready for this, Yazeed? It's not on the notes, I don't think. Oh, it is on the notes.
It is on the notes, but you don't have the who it's by. You just have the name of the song.
Surprise! It's Kid Cudi. It's "Going to the Ceremony" by Kid Cudi.
Kidlard Cudi.
Oh yes, my good friend, Kidlard. What's Kid Cudi's full name, Yazeed?
Kidlard. Kid might be his full name. I don't know.
No, I'm one of those nerds who like remembered my favorite rappers' full names on Wikipedia, so I just like having that. Like, when's his birthday?
I want to say his first name is Dominic.
Ooh,
he seems like a Dominic.
That's actually not far. His real name's Scott. Scott and Dominic, they kind of have the same like flavor to them. I can't describe it.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Like if you know.
Okay. I was close. I feel like Dominic's not bad, considering I pulled that out of nowhere. He looks like a Dominic. If you told me his name was Dominic, I'd be like, yeah, okay. Scott's a good name for him too. You know what's funny?
Huh.
Actually, I should have guessed that, because I always get confused between, like, in my head, Travis Scott is just Kid Cudi for the same reason that Childish Gambino is Donald Glover. Like, in my head,
but one of those
Kid
is
Cudi
true.
was like, I know, in my head, it's the same thing for Kid Cudi. It's like, in my head, it's like Kid Cudi has two rap personas, Travis Scott and Kid Cudi. But I don't think I've ever heard anything by Travis Scott. So it's just like, that's just out there.
You heard Sicko Mode.
Person.
I
don't know Sicko Mode.
You don't know Sicko Mode?
I don't know Sicko Mode. Oof, that face tells me like you're actually disappointed in me there.
I can't, because on a previous episode you said you know Sicko Mode.
I think you started to maybe. I don't know.
The Drake. I did half a Zan, 13 hours till I land, have me out like a. It's like.
I think I've heard of Sicko Mode. I don't think I've heard Sicko Mode.
Okay. Anyway, it probably makes it more confusing because Travis Scott and Kid Cudi have like a group called the Scotts. So I'm sure for you it's just a nightmare.
Well.
But yeah. Anyway, my song of the week is "Going to the Ceremony."
Unfounded.
What?
Nice. I said I wasn't unfounded. My secret conspiracy theory that Kid Cudi is actually Travis Scott's Yeah.
Yeah, alter ego. And it's even more confusing because Travis Scott sounds like a real name, but his real name is Jock Webster. Laughing at this man's government name. How disrespectful.
What a name. What a name. Can you imagine we're in the delivery room, the nurse is like, what are you gonna name this? Jock Webster. The nurse just like,
Webster's a cool last name though. Your name was Yazeed Webster.
Cool, okay, Yazeed Webster doesn't work. But if I was like Daniel Webster or like Tyler Webster.
You're trying to give yourself the whitest names. You're Yazeed
Because I think
Webster.
Webster's a white person.
That's true.
Last name. Yazeed Webster sounds like something went wrong.
What if you just change your first name to like Spider? Your name could be Spider Webster. It'd be pretty rad. You'd be a wrestler too. You kind of have to be a wrestler.
Spider Webster is probably the best possible name. They really messed up with Peter Parker being Spider-Man. His alternate identity should have been Spider Webster. Or like Peter Webster. That's a good name too.
I can see it.
Yeah.
Peter Webster. It's too on the nose though, Webster, for someone who shoots. Like it doesn't work, you know?
I mean, maybe. Okay, continue. Sorry.
Yeah.
What about the song Makes It Slap for you?
It doesn't actually slap really at all. It's like a slow pace rock song kind of. It's from Satellite Flight, which is one of the albums where Kid Cudi was kind of more alternative rock type stuff and singing. The song is like not happy, but it's about kind of moving forward without a goal. Like one of the lines is free as a bird, flying over mountains, but I don't know where I'm going, or whatever. You know, basically it's like,
is the line I don't know where I'm going or whatever? Or
no, it's I don't know where I'm going.
Okay.
I don't know where I'm going, but I'm going. It's all happening. Okay. Like it's like it like gives this idea of like just wanting to get somewhere but without direction. It's like a young man's thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I understand.
So it's just like a really great song, and I didn't know what I wanted for my song of the week this week, but when I was driving back home and realized we just bought a house. And my whole life has been trying to buy a house for 6 months. And now that we did, I like don't know what to do next. But I'm going. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like that feeling. It's like, okay, this is the song of the week. It hits so right. But yeah, Kid Cudi is the GOAT forever. And Going to the Ceremony is a great song. Drinking again. Bottles up. I'm in it to win with none of my friends. Just me and this bottle. That's the opening line of the song. It is not a slapper.
That really sounds like something I would be into.
Yeah, I think if anything, you might like it. I remember it was in our second year of college, and the song, I think it was either Unfuckwithable or one of the other ones from Indica, but you read the lyrics to the song on my phone in class, and you were like, that's really good. And I was like, you're a Kid Cudi fan. So I think you would like this song. Anyway, Going to the Ceremony by Kid Cudi.
I think you once told me that I would like Kid Cudi's like alternative rock album more than I like any of his hip hop albums, which probably is true.
I think you said you liked a song from Speed and Bullet. And Speed and Bullet,
probably. Speed
and Bullet is like it's gained meme status of like garbage tier albums that people on the internet give zeros because it's the thing to hate. And I get it. Like, I totally get it. But I also love Kid Cudi so much. And I have multiple copies of that thing on CD. Like, I just love Kid Cudi, and I love that album, and I love everything he does. And he does some objectively bad things on Speed Bullet to Heaven. Like having Beavis and Butthead skits in the songs. Like, not separate tracks. Like, you hear a song, and then it's Mike Judge doing Beavis and Butthead skits. Anyway, it's like those are just bad decisions. And he has a song on there called The Return of Chip Douglas. No doubt one of the worst songs I've ever heard and the worst song he's ever made. But there's also songs. Anyway, this is the whole thing. But you should, if you're interested in listening to like the wildest Kid Cudi music he's ever made, listen to Speed Bullet to Heaven.
Okay.
It's like a if someone took like the darkest mental state like someone in the peak of a breakdown, and they took that and they made an album representing their mental state, and it comes across so clean. Like whenever I'm like really in like a down in the dumps type mood, put on Worth or Handle with Care or Melting. That'll hurt you. It's very good. Melting. Listen to that. How about that?
Right on.
No. Anyway, Kid Cudi, the GOAT. Song of the week, forever.
Do you have anything else for Song of the Week?
I don't.
All right. I just thought of a rapid fire question.
Okay.
What first and last name could you switch the like opening consonant sound to come up with the most ridiculous thing? Because when you said Chip Douglas, Dip Chugless is just so funny.
I have one example in my head, and it maybe isn't the best example, but it's the funniest one that I can think of, just because it was Alex who said it, and the way that he said it was hilarious. But it was Tronald Dump.
I forgot about that.
The way he said it the first time, I like, there was so much emphasis in dump in it. It was one of the funniest things I've ever heard in my life. So that's the only example that comes to my mind.
That one's really good.
Yeah. I think I could try.
But it's no Dip Chugless.
Dip Chugless. That kind of sounds like Big Chungus. You know, it's got that meme energy to it.
It really is. Jock Webster. Walk Jebster. Jock Webster sounds funny, honestly.
Jock Webster.
All right.
I can't think of any where they actually work. They all just kind of sound off. But Tronald Dump is my answer.
I was trying to go through some of our friends' names in my head right now, and it's like none of them actually work. JC's the worst one to do this game with. Yep. It's just you literally can't make it better.
Yeah, no one has like really good like chunky names like that you could just move around. They all have kind of just names, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was all for was that your rapid fire question?
That was my only rapid fire. I literally thought of that after you said Dip Chugless.
Chip Douglas. You know what? If I ever get mad at you, which I don't actually see happening, but if I ever do, I will make my song of the week Return of Chip Douglas, just so you have to listen to it.
I'm gonna remember this, that whenever you do this to me, I'll be like, oh, what did I do?
Yeah, you'll know it's real. Just... All right, sorry, I have to edit that part out.
No worries.
Sanogi's buying a couch.
What?
Yeah, she called me and she's like, I'm buying this couch. You can object, but I'm buying this couch.
Damn, that's commitment to the cause right there.
Yeah, sorry, but
where is she buying a couch from at 10 o'clock at night?
I think she's buying it online.
Oh, that makes more sense. I was like, who's open at 10 o'clock at night?
I bet Sam Levitz is open at 10 o'clock at night. That dude doesn't quit.
When was the last time you went to like a furniture store?
Like a proper, like defined furniture store, because like a Big Lot sells furniture.
Like a Sam Levitz or like an Ashley
Furniture.
Yeah, there we go. I was like, it's Ashley something, but I don't remember. Or any of those ones. I don't actually remember any of the furniture stores in town.
I don't know. I honestly can't remember. I mean, I probably went to an IKEA a couple years ago.
They follow you around like vultures, and it makes me very uncomfortable.
In IKEA or Sam Levitz?
No, it's like Sam Levitz.
Yeah, they do.
Like, my mom and I were just looking at a couch, and like, you like this one? No, it's like, a little. They're like...
That face.
How much in this thing costs? It's on discount. And it's just like so uncomfortable for me to be like, I like this couch, but not that much. Like, this couch is okay.
It's like a car salesman. Like when you pull up to the lot and you see the 7 dudes like strategically just placed, you're just like, all right, I got to avoid all these men.
No, actually, I've had the opposite experience when I've gone car shopping. Really? They all just look at me like I'm a child, and they really don't take me seriously.
I mean, you were like 20 when you bought your car, so I don't think...
I bought my car when I was 23.
Were you 23 when we graduated college?
No, that can't be true. Holy
You've had that car a while.
Yeah, I have. When did we graduate college?
It's 2016, which was 4 years
21.
ago. So I was off by a year. Anyway, point is,
fair enough.
Car salesmen suck. Sam Levitt's, I think they're fine, but salespeople suck in general. That's the takeaway here.
They just make me feel uncomfortable. I also don't like, because I can't say no to people very easily, so it's difficult for me.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on the purple mattress? This is kind of like the retro days of What's Up Part 2, but this is not Song of the Week or Rapid Fire.
We've talked about this purple mattress, I think, before on the podcast.
Have we?
If you and I haven't, I've definitely talked about somebody about buying the purple mattress.
Yeah. What do you think?
They said it was okay.
Okay. We bought one. I don't know what they feel like. I think my point is it's very hard to buy furniture on the internet because
it's very hard. Listen, I bought a mattress online, and my mom was like, "This is the highest rated mattress online."
Yeah.
And I bought it, and it said it was a very firm mattress, which is something I was looking for. That mattress isn't firm. It's not firm at all, and all the people who said that it was firm are liars, and they should have their bed licenses revoked because they don't know what firm means.
I'm with you, though. I love a firm bed.
Yeah. I used to sleep on a futon, and I loved it. That thing was firm. It was like sleeping on the floor, and it was great for my back. Now I sleep on like a cushiony bed, and I wake up stiff a little bit in the morning because I've sunken into the bed.
Yeah.
And I don't like it.
It's hard. We had a memory foam mattress that I bought on Amazon when we moved to Seattle the first time, or just moved out there. And I bought it online.
You only ever moved out there once.
Yeah, I mean, when we initially moved out there. I will never move back to Seattle. But anyway, I bought it on Amazon just kind of blindly because I needed a bed. And I had it for like 4 years. And it was fine, but it was one of those, like, it's hard to get out of it. Which doesn't sound like a bad thing, but when you're trying to like be a person and live a life, you don't want to be like trapped in your bed every morning, you know?
Yeah, you want to have sunk in like 2 inches trying to roll out.
Yeah, exactly.
Like a turtle on its back. You're trying to like get out of this thing. It's like, nah, it's okay.
Yeah.
I want a mattress that's like the opposite. When you lay down in the morning, when you wake up, it just pushes you off. Like, get out of bed, you piece of garbage.
It just flips. It just dumps me out of it every morning.
Think about that for an alarm clock. At 7 a.m., the bed just shoots you out at the wall.
I'd be kind of down for that. It's like a more intense version of those alarms where it's like, get up and stomp or get up and shake your phone or whatever, you know, to like wake you up in the morning.
I heard that of those like wacky, crazy alarms, the one that's actually the most helpful is the one that requires you to stand up, to get out of bed and stand up on it.
Yeah.
Because eventually you'll get good enough at doing arithmetic half asleep that you can solve the math ones.
Yeah, that doesn't seem like a way to really wake someone up. It just seems like a way to make them confused or like frustrated when they wake up.
Or really good at adding like big numbers together.
Well, what's an example of like a question? What's a math one of them look like?
I think it's like multiply like 72 times 112.
Okay.
And you gotta like type in the answer.
Oh, like into your phone?
Into the alarm. So it could be your phone or it could be like a standalone alarm.
Interesting. I've never seen that before.
Yeah, I don't know. I heard that those ones they're not super effective. There's also the ones that like roll away from you.
Yes.
Which always is very funny to me because if that happened, I'd just leave it because theoretically it'll get far enough away that it won't bother me anymore.
It's true. It's a fatal design flaw.
It really is.
That's funny. But yeah, no, I got nothing else. That was my everything. I think looking at my notes.
This really is like an old school episode of Patch Notes.
Yeah, it sucks.
I didn't mean it like that.
No, there's like a loose "What's Up" part 2 at the end. Yeah, you're right.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. All right, everyone. Thanks for listening.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Let's get the fuck out of here. All right.
All right.
And I'm swearing more. This is like old
listening.
Patch Notes.
It really is. I don't know how to close it. I had done with science, and I don't remember my science right now. Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll catch you next week for episode 36, where there'll be probably a lot more home game stuff for me, and
me.
Presumably an equivalent amount of home game stuff for Joseph.
Yes, and I might be in a different place. This might be the last episode you see this Wreck-It Ralph poster behind me and the Guitar Hero Metallica.
Don't say that. We said that about this might be the last time we do an episode, or this might be the last episode might be the last time we did an episode over.
Yeah, but like I'm moving out of here.
Oh.
You know.
Well, that's okay.
It's a bit more different. I don't know what
So that's kind of permanent.
Yeah, I mean, I will come back to this room. I doubt I'll record another episode of this thing in this room.
We should like in 30 episodes we record together in that room.
Ooh, that would be uncomfortable. I like it. Let's do that.
All right. Okay, everyone. Thanks for listening in on this one. We'll be back next week for episode 36. Please catch us then.
Yeah, check us out. Homegames.io. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next week. We love you.
One of us loves you.
Yazeed doesn't love you. See you next week.
I love you.